gather round for an epic show. Oh yeah, here we go. The stubborn heroes coming out on top. Yeah, we always win. Delving into the darkest dungeons. Always fight to win. Oh yeah, here we go. Now it's time for the Stubborn Heroes.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Stubborn Heroes, a Dungeons & Dragons podcast. My name is Adam, and I am the Dungeon Master, and the Stubborn Heroes we have today are Parker, who normally plays Tyrannus.
Hello. I'm so confused.
I'm a bit confused too, because I didn't know how to introduce you guys, but Cody, who plays Belgarath.
Hello.
That's right, because today is the day you've all been waiting for since the start of the campaign. Out of all of the backstories of all the characters, everybody has been asking. I'm just kidding. Nobody has been asking about
the best hero ever.
The most complex, multi-layered character.
The guy who beats stuff up with a giant bone. Belgarath the Goblin. Today we're going to dive into Belgarath's origin and where he came from. And yeah, so this is part 2 of our final origin story arc, which is going to conclude next time with Bonnie's origin story. And you just heard Thanthuis. So this one's going to take a little bit of a detour from the, what Thanthuis was. I'm sure you all heard it by now. Yeah, so you ready to dive into your origin there, Cody?
Yes.
Yes, okay. We open to the wild landscape and dense woodlands outside of Stormtalon, the capital city of Falcon's Rest. The days in the city bring you very little pleasure, Belgarath, as you are one who lives for the thrill of battle. As the other guys back in Tanglewood Estate twiddle their thumbs and work on new fancy things for their new home and their rooms, you want to decorate your own room to feel a little bit more like home. You collected lots of shinies throughout your journey, but you know what you need? You need some bones. You need some skulls. You want to decorate the walls with the skulls of your enemies.
Yes, of course. That means I need to go ransack Bonnie's room.
So you go out on a hunt. And before going after bigger enemies, as you're walking through the streets of Stormtalon, you're wearing your retractable armor, which since Lopsock has used his hammer upon it, it has changed to glow a blue energy instead. You walk through the streets of Stormtalon, and then your stomach starts to growl. So instead of hunting for the big game, which is a band of gnolls has taken up refuge in a nearby cave, you decide to get some grub first. So you go hunting for some deer or elk or rabbit, whatever you can find. You finally make it to the forest, clear from any eyes of traders or traveling merchants upon the road. And you're finally alone, Belgarath. Would you like to describe what you look like?
So as the Belgarath would be walking, the armor would, as he goes into the bush of the forest and he's out of sight, the armor would slowly retract around him, and I guess it would start from his feet, so it would slowly lower him to his right size, and then the rest of it will come down slowly, all retracting to, it's a metal gauntlet, but the fingertips are spiky, like it can be used as a claw weapon. And what is revealed is Belgarath, of course, but he has the Mask of Hellish Fury on his side of his head, kind of like off to the side so he can put it on quickly. He has the skull of the Yugoloth on his shoulder, quite big. From what he looked like before, you'd see that he would almost be covered in even more bones with a little less skin showing. He'd probably be wearing like the skin of a bear on his back with it. Like he took down a huge bear and he decided to wear it as a trophy. And that's about it.
Okay, and what exactly, you're hungry, Belgrath. What are you hunting for in the forest today?
Belgoth would be probably hunting for rabbit, but like a good chunk of them just to fill his stomach.
Okay. So you can roll a survival check.
Survival check, okay.
Yes, as you move the devilish mask of hellish fury over your eyes, over your face, your beady eyes looking out to the forest as you shift through the trees and the brush.
13 for survival.
And as you sort of move through the brush, you're unable to find your quarry as the tracks bemuse you. You cannot find what it is that you're looking for. After about an hour of hunting and searching, you see some squirrels run by, but they just, run past you. You see deer in the distance, but it saw you as you moved through and it ran away. You can roll another survival check.
16.
A little bit better. So as you continue moving through, suddenly a band of 2 human hunters holding crossbows pass by. You hide in the bush as they move along the trail, sort of talking to one another. And then you slowly sneak out and tiptoe across the trail into another bush. And that's when you smell the aroma of poop. You look into the next little meadow that you move into, and you would see some fresh poop on the ground. You give it a little sniff. There's some flies there, and you know this is the poop of an elk. You can see its footprints in the brush. You know it's close by.
So Balgrath already knows, like, almost the location where he is of the elk?
Yep. You know it's just ahead. You're able to track it now, and you feel comfortable that you're going to be able to get it. It's just you don't see it yet. But you've gotten the trail of the elk.
Alright, so Balgrath will just take out his bow and just prepare, and then crouch down and start, like, sneaking up towards it through the brush.
Belgrath tiptoes through the brush until finally you move some bushes aside, and there, sitting in a glorious meadow full of flowers, the sun shining upon it, is a large white furred elk, majestically eating at the flowers. Looking around, it doesn't seem to see you yet. What do you do?
Belgrath will continue tiptoeing until he can get close enough to jump and try to swing at it with his mighty bone.
Okay, so roll a stealth check.
Whew. Roll high, baby. 16 to stealth.
This is so mediocre. So no DM likes 13s or 16s because it's like,
I know, it's like on like the bench. It's like back and forth. The deer daughter.
I'll let fate decide. I'll just roll a quick little. Okay. Perception check for the little elk there. He would have rolled a 10. So as you slowly tiptoe up and you have your large bone, and then you're slowly creeping up behind it. It doesn't see you. Its back is to you. It moves down and then looks around the meadow like this. You're right behind it. You're holding your big bone.
Belgrath will go for a strike. Breakfast time!
Okay. And you move to strike. Your giant bone meets nothing, as suddenly there's a shadow moving across him. And the elk disappears. A spray of blood spatters all over your face and your body. And the elk is gone. And you look down and you just see a trail of flesh and gory bits of its body strewn across the ground into the forest.
What the hell? Belgrath will follow the trail.
Perception check.
Perception check. Oh god. A 6.
You start following the trail. It would be as if the elk is just completely gone. It just disappeared into the forest. Little bits of flesh on the ground, blood into the brush, but besides that, it's gone. Suddenly, it's as if the area darkens as an overcast of clouds takes up the sky. The sun no longer beaming down into this nice little meadow as a storm slowly starts to churn in the distance. A shadow seems to move in the forest around you. You'd see two green, beady eyes staring at you, and then they disappear, and then they're on the other side of the forest. Something is running around you. The hunter has become the hunted. And you just hear a bestial sort of guttural laugh.
Belgrath will look around the forest. Whoever you are, you better come out right now.
Well, well, well. What have we here?
As it suddenly this shadowy figure shifts to the other side, you see the brush, and it just runs past you, but you're just unable to see what it is.
Little Belgarath, all on his own.
Who are you? How do you know me?
You don't remember your old friend?
Suddenly, Belgrath, a shadow looms over you as a figure is right behind you.
Belgrath turns around.
Behind you is a large beast. It's almost like a giant dire wolf with gray, broken fur that falls into patches of pussing green boils, and its eyes are green, its teeth gnarled that just seep with like a green poison. This is a warg that you remember.
Come on, Belgarath. You remember your old pal, don't you?
Belgrath would go in jumping at it. Almost look like he's gonna attack, but then it turns into Felpa and gives him a hug.
Oh.
And Felpa, one of your oldest friends, a warg who you grew up with, falls back into the flowery meadow. There's still blood all over both of you that just smears across the ground.
Oh, okay, get off me. Come on. I've been looking for you for a long time.
We skip ahead about an hour. You've created a campfire here in the meadow, and the elk that Felpa grabbed and brought into the forest, you have now cooking over the fire. As Felpa sits down, his tongue out, looking at the cooking meat up over the fire.
So how long have you been in Storm Talon?
Quite a while. Actually, a few travelers and I have actually made a home here.
A home? You already have a home, Belgarath.
If you're talking about the cave that was raided.
It's been raided many times. Malakath wants you to come home, boy.
Excuse me?
Oh, you didn't know?
I thought Pa was dead.
You think anyone could kill Malakath the Terrible? Come now, boy. It'll take more than some witch to kill your father.
But he pushed me out of the cave to save me, like the party was too much for him.
That's because he wants to protect you, boy. That's all he ever wanted.
And Felpa just sort of leans into the rotating meat that you've just been marinating and poking at, and he just takes a little chunk out of it.
Belgrath, goes for a swing at his nose. It's not done yet.
If I'm telling you the truth, your father didn't send me here because he wants you to come back. I came because I think you need to come back. Things are in a bad state.
Is something wrong with Pa?
Well, I don't actually know. You see, after it was raided, I saw the army entering the cave in the distance, and I kind of fled for a while. Eventually I came back, and they're still there. I know your father's still alive because I can hear his roars, and I've seen his fire. I just think if you come back, maybe we could free him together.
Well, if it's to save Pa, of course I'll come back.
Pa, you know, you ever wonder, Belgarath, about how your father is a dragon?
No.
It's never passed through your mind why you would have a father that's a dragon? Do you not see anything wrong with it?
Nope.
Really, so how did you come to be?
An egg?
An egg.
That's what
And-
Pa told me.
And you are a
A goblin?
Philpa puts his head up in frustration. He's like,
Okay, have you ever known another goblin to come from an egg?
Not really, no.
He never told you, did he?
Tell me what?
I just assumed one day he would tell you. And when I left, I thought you were old enough. There's a lot that you don't know about yourself, boy. You have your father's blood in your veins, but I don't think you realize why. So why don't you finish that delicious meat there, and I'll tell you a story.
Okay, yeah. Belgraph takes this meat off the fire and pretty much finishes in one bite.
and then Velpa goes in, eats some.
Well, it all began, like all things did, a long time ago, in a place far away.
Ooh, is this a fairy tale?
It is a midsummer night on the riverbed reach. Flames are seen on the horizon amid screams and the sounds of battle. As we pan down from the looming, darkened skies of a distant storm, the young pup known as Felpaw moves through the burning village, narrowly dodging flaming arrows and the swords of adventurers who are digging into the flesh of goblins. The goblin village is nearly completely burned down and destroyed. You see Ranger shooting arrows into them while a fighter is slicing and dicing them. Felpaw continues running till he runs into one of the tents.
The village destroyed. We've got to get out of here.
And there we see a female goblin looking very pregnant. She grabs her things and turns to Felpaw.
I know of a place we can go. It's on the other side of the island. It's a cave.
Suddenly, the tent door opens, and you see a human there. He has a long black beard. He's wearing long robes. He's holding a book in one hand. And he seems to be a wizard. And his eyes glow with energy. And Parker, do you want to play this guy?
Sure.
He wears darkened robes. He's holding a large book. He seems extremely well decorated and powerful. Energy crackles in his hands.
Oh, what have we here?
The little pup, Felpa, turns, sort of growls.
Oh, what a nasty little creature we have.
Felpa, no!
I'll dispose of these quickly.
Felpa, we have to run!
This wizard will quickly flip to a page in his book and then hold out his hand and speak a few words in another language. And his hand will, a fireball will appear in his hand. And he launches it at the goblin.
Take this.
As the fireball grows and grows and grows.
Just out of, distress, she will grab for, just reach around her. She's not even looking. She's just reaching around to grab something. And then throws it at the wizard.
Okay, and you're able to pick up an old rusted sword, and you throw it at the wizard. And the wizard, as he's about to throw the fireball, suddenly the sword stabs you right in your eyeball. and is sticking out of your head. The fireball instead goes flying behind you into the village and then explodes.
With that distraction, she and Felpa will, run or go around him out of the room and start heading towards the cave.
Yeah, you run out of the room.
You little bitch. You can run, but you can't hide.
Like the Lichy voice. We gotta name this guy. Let's not name him. So you start running through the goblin village. Your dead family and loved ones all around you. You'd hear these adventurers cheering from different sides of the village. We got them! We've destroyed these dirty monsters! And Felpa, right behind you, continues running. You make it out of the village and into the brush in the forest. And you continue moving up the mountainside until you look down upon your burning village. And you see the path that will lead up to where the cave is.
Holding back tears, looking down at the village, she'll turn away and... Come on, Felpa, let's go.
Felpa nods, and then the little pup continues following you. You ascend the large mountain pass. You travel for about half an hour. Your body is aching. Your large pregnant belly becomes tight. This is not something you should be doing, but it is something you must do to survive. You get a sharp pain in your belly as you finally reach the top into the cave. You take cover inside. There is a powerful heat emanating from inside of the cave. This is better than dying in that village. You sort of take a deep breath. And then you hear the voice of the wizard.
Where are you, goblin scum? I will find you, make you pay for what you did to me.
What do? You hear him coming up the pass where you were.
She will reach for a rock.
You're in the cave. He's about to enter the cave.
Right, so she will grab for a big enough rock that she can lift and prepare to defend herself.
Okay. And finally, he comes around the corner.
And she will run at him with the rock.
The wizard will quickly turn and cast a spell and levitate the goblin.
Oh, you think you could bash my brains out, eh? That's it. Suffer like I did.
And then the wizard will like throw the goblin against the wall of the cave.
Your arm breaks. The little pup comes up, Felpaw, and starts biting at the wizard's leg.
Do you have any idea who I am?
As the wizard kicks the pup.
And he also hits the wall next to your mother.
What kind of power I possess? You think you could stand a chance? Pathetic.
The wizard will hold up his hand and just slowly start closing his fingers together as he telekinetically, I suppose, chokes the goblin, the pregnant goblin.
That's it. Feel the life leaving your body.
Suddenly, there's a low rumble. And a low growl would creep from inside of the cave. This emanation of heat coming out from the darkness inside.
Who goes there? Whether man or beast, you cannot stand against...
The wizard would release his grip on the goblin and turn, looking into the darkness of the cave.
The gods and devils you worship are nothing to me.
The wizard will hold up his hands in kind of a dome, and then a ball of light will appear between his hands, and he'll kind of like release it as it floats toward the cave.
It floats deep into the darkness, and then suddenly the shimmer of red scales are seen. The gargantuan form of a red dragon. Its teethy maw all the light can fully encompass, as suddenly burning fiery eyes, bigger than the wizard itself, are seen in this huge cave.
The wizard will unleash a stream of lightning toward the dragon.
Lightning shoots up into the cave, sparking. It only illuminates the dragon. You hear its loud claws slamming against the ground. It slowly moves up to the mouth of the cave.
Die, dragon, die!
Suddenly, a large claw swipes across the breadth of the cave, and the wizard is smacked hard, his body flailing and crashing against the wall and then tumbling down to the ground, half broken.
The wizard, all crunched up against the wall, barely able to move, is gonna reach into his pocket and pull out this deck of cards. And he reaches and pulls out a single card in the shape of has the shape of a crescent moon on the surface.
His body incinerated by the blast, this almost magma-like torrent of fire from the mouth of the dragon. The female goblin and Felpaw just like hide from the heat, their fur, their skin sort of charring from just being on the opposite side of the cave. That's how immense this heat is from the dragon burning this wizard. What do you do?
Yeah, so with her mangled body and broken arm, she would one-handedly try to crawl towards the entrance of the cave. And I guess Fellpaw would be like helping her by grabbing her clothes and dragging her. And then I grab onto she grabs onto his fur and throws him.
Wait.
No. You must live. You must survive. Throws him out of the cave and he, I guess, presumably
He tumbles
rolls
down the mountainside and seems to disappear. And as you watch Fellpaw fall down the mountainside, suddenly the ground would shake as you feel the looming presence of this gargantuan dragon looking over you from behind. And when that happens, fluttering down from the air, moving back and forth slowly, and then landing right in front of you, is that card with the crescent moon on it. Your culture is aware of wishes, a powerful spell. You saw that this wizard was attempting to cast a wish, and the wish card lands almost directly into your hand, as if by fate.
She struggles to pick it up, and knowing her fate would just roll over and like hunch herself up against the wall, like sitting.
I shall do your mercy, little one. None escape the lair of Malakath the Terrible. I will end this quickly for you.
And the dragon pulls back, his mouth starts to emit with fire again as he's about to blast you with fire and flame.
So she'll struggly put it in front, like lift it up so it's almost in front of the dragon. And she would say, I wish for my child to live, and for this dragon to care for him as his own, and that his blood runs through his veins.
As this sparking fey magic starts coming out of the wish card in this blue glow, and then the dragon releases its fire breath upon you. The wish card slowly fades and dissolves, and this torrent of fire, it moves with such ferocity, such weight, such power that the very walls start to cave in a bit. And then your mother closes her eyes as she makes that wish and is consumed by the flames, and her body completely seems to disintegrate. And the crescent moon in the sky above shines brighter. And then the flames disappear and burns away. Ash is in the air. The dragon looks around and sniffs as it looks down at the little space where the goblin once was. And what we see is a red dragon egg. He nudges it with his nose as the egg starts to crack. And a little green arm comes out and moves the eggshell away. Inside is a fresh, crying little baby goblin. I could get a baby crying. Just add it in.
That's probably better.
Kill me! And
It's just like a mutant, like dragon goblin, like, ah, what have you done? An abomination.
he kind of is. And as it starts crying and it lets out this wailing scream, suddenly the goblin's skin turns red and grows red dragon scales. Malakath the Terrible looks down at it.
It's okay. It's okay, little one. I will protect you. I will always protect you.
We pan away from the smiling dragon over the baby goblin, and we cut to many years later. Belgarath, you have spent your entire life on the small island off the coast of Riverbed Reach, where all of that took place. An island known to be controlled by the mighty ancient red dragon, Malakath the Terrible. For hundreds of years, Malakath has warded off any and all attacks or intrusions into his lair. And for hundreds of years, adventurers have come from corners of the continent and failed to be the ones to finally stop him. All of this you've learned as you've lived with your father now for at least 10 years. But you don't know Malakath the way the others do. No, to you, he is Pa, your father. From the moment you were born, a strong connection was forged between you and Pa, and that can never be explained. A bond so strong, he has taken all possible actions to ensure you are safe and cared for. Your home is a lair inside a fiery, dormant volcano. And where you sleep and reside, a giant chasm that acts as a treasure trove to Malakath's horde. This has created a love for shiny objects, weapons, and armor that you can play and toy with at your leisure. But Malakath sees you as his son, regardless of the strangeness of your goblin heritage, something that he has never seemed to notice. And he has made sure to teach you the ways of the dragon. With the dragon's fire running through your veins, you can explode into a fiery rage, your body transforming into a mass of red scales and skin that indicate when your ancestry is most potent. Malakath taught you how to hunt and kill at a young age, first with sticks and killing small rodents, until eventually killing deer and rabbit for food. Malakath, being extremely old, also had a long life before you arrived, one that he cherished more than the hoard of treasure and the gold he hoarded. Malakath loved to tell stories. Humans and Hamlets, a tabletop role-playing game made by Dragonkind eons ago and played in secret with their chromatic brethren since. It involves playing as a human peasant in a small village or city where you roll on completing mundane tasks like farming, trading, or raising a family. Malakath wears large spectacles as he sits at a gargantuan table made of stone. This table was clearly once a temple of some kind to a lost deity in ancient times. It has ornate pillars acting as the table legs. But Malakath is not alone at the table. He would invite some of his oldest ancient dragon friends for a monthly game, while you played in your treasure hoard. Malakath the Terrible was the Hamlet master, and then he had a few friends there who also played. Poisono, the Bane of Riverbed, who was an ancient green dragon.
I will be playing as Tabitha Sparrow, a level 3 blacksmith's assistant.
Demoscorn, the Undying, an ancient black dragon.
I am level 3 farmhand, Keith Winslow, and I am ready to invest in some mediocre property.
Crixterius, Terror of Man, an ancient blue dragon.
My name is Marianne Tucker, a level 3 barmaid looking to open my own tavern one day and make a livable income to support my growing family.
These ancient chromatic dragons seem to dislike you at first, Belgarath. Especially since you were intruding on their monthly game that they played in the shadows out of fear of judgment. But over time, they became like aunts and uncles to you. And we pan over to one of the games that they're playing.
Just a quick question. Just in the later episodes of Stubborn Heroes, can we please come across like like we're going through a temple or a cave and we stick our heads in the door and we see them playing. Like dragons playing this game, we're like, yeah, we're just gonna leave this.
Well, that's kind of what's happening now, right? You don't get to see what dragons do in private. This is what they do in private. They're like anybody else.
I want to sell grain I harvested to a local trader in exchange for some lumber. Alright. Roll a commerce check, but with disadvantage. Why disadvantage? Because the local Jarl was angered when you attended the princess's ball and gandered at his ward, Lady Madeline. Oh, hogwash! I knew I should have taken the diplomatic immunity fee. A natural 20.
Hey, Paul, look what I made.
Yes, Belgrath. Yes, very good.
Pa?
Very good. Okay, can't you see Pa's doing something important right now? This is business, Belgrath.
Pa? Can I play?
Oh, you're serious? Belgrath. Humans and Hamlets is a complicated game.
And you're not a dragon.
Malakath looks angrily at Poisona.
He is a dragon, and I will never hear you speak of that again.
The dragons are quiet.
Where were we?
Suddenly,
Dragon! I, Cormac the Bold, have come to slay you. Today you shall fall.
Malakath just sort of facepalms with his giant claw. The other dragons. As coming up the large cave is a man in blue armor. Belgarath, in the future, this is your future armor that you wear. It's glowing blue as he holds a large sword high in the air and points it towards Malakath.
Prepare to die!
He's covered in flame as with one breath, Malakath just blasts and cooks this paladin with his inside of his own armor. And his body clumps over. Nothing more than a smoldering pile of ash and bones are left. The armor retracts into the helmet and then just starts to glow red instead as it sparks a bit and sits on top of a pile of bone and ash.
Belgarath, would you mind cleaning that mess up, please?
Sure, Pa. Can I have the bones?
Malakath's like,
If you want them. Sure. Yeah, of course, son. You have it all, my boy.
and you pick up the helmet, Belgarath, and you put it on your head, and you grab the bones, and you start making yourself some cool little trinkets and armor. Suddenly we cut to many years later. As you enter the cave, Belgarath, holding your first kill on your own, and you're dragging it across the floor. Your father and his friends are once again playing humans and hamlets.
I would like to teach my son how to milk a cow. Okay. That'll either be a nurture check or an education check. I rolled a 4. Okay, well, that means you must make a clumsiness saving throw then. What? Why? Because you forgot how to milk a cow, and in an effort to impress your son, you may have slipped in the milk. Fine, I will roll again. You slipped in the milk.
Pa, look! I killed a basilisk that was outside our...
Very, very good, son. Very good. Now, can't you see I'm busy? Go make a coat of its skin or something. Now, where were we?
Dragon, I've come for you. Prepare for your final demise at the hands of Sean, the Invincible.
Got it, Pa!
So Balgrath will drop the basilisk where it is, and he'll go up the cave. As he goes up the cave, he'll grab a giant club, and I guess as he emerges towards the intruder, he will...
He's sort of floating in the air. He seems to be this very skinny sort of wizard with a large beard.
Yes, Goblin. Do not worry. I have freed you from this dragon's grasp. Now tell me, where is this beast?
He's right here.
And he will ferociously just from the side whip his club around and hit the intruder in the head with the giant club. And then proceeds to just continuously pound like his head and body with the club.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you...
And you kill Sean the Invincible. Many more years pass. You are inside of the treasure trove. Your uncles and aunt are there, and they're all about to start a game of humans and Hamlets when what they see is you swinging a large femur bone. You're swinging and smashing into target dummies that are on the treasure trove. Poisona looks over.
Wait, Malakath, is that the femur bone of Zephyra the Dreaded?
Oh my god! Ha ha ha! How is he able to hold it?
I enchanted it to make it light in his hands. My son hasn't grown up fully yet. One day when he is able to fly...
Malakath, fly?
We must be realistic. You will not speak of my son that way.
Malakath slams his arms down, his eyes burning with fire, his mouth glowing.
Golgarath is a dragon, through and through, and I will not hear any more on the matter. Okay.
Of course.
Now, where were we? Oh, yes. You smell lilacs and gooseberries on the breeze as she twirls around you. The music is lost as you gaze upon her beauty. The moonlight encasing her in a glow that lifts your spirit. Your heart beats wildly in your chest. This is it. This is the moment you've been waiting for. But can you go through with it?
I think I'm ready. I'm going to do it. I want to kiss Lady Madeline.
Then, Keith Winslow, roll me a bravery check.
Oh, dragon! It is I come to slay you!
Golgarath.
I'm on it, Pa!
And Balgrath goes running up the cave.
And this cycle continues for many more years as we watch as Belgarath grows into the strong young goblin he is today. Until one fateful night. The cave shakes, and Belgarath, you are awoken from the sounds of a struggle.
What?
Suddenly moving up the cave is your father, Malakath. And you've noticed that he's wounded. He seems to have arcing, lightning scars across half of his body. One of his wings seems broken. And he's bleeding from one of his claws.
Belgarath, wake up.
Pa, what's going on? What happened?
As you move your blanket of treasure to the side.
I just sleep under treasure.
You sleep on the treasure hoard, I assume. Your whole entire life you've lived in the treasure hoard.
No wonder he can sleep anywhere.
You'd hear the screams of men and women up to the mouth of the cave, far away. This, where you are, the treasure trove is pretty deep. It takes a while to get in, but you would hear that there is an encroaching army coming up the cave behind Malakath.
I thought we would have more time. I swore when you were born that I would protect you, no matter what, my son.
And he breathes heavily, and now you'd notice the wounds on his body.
Pa, you can beat them though, Pa, can't you?
Not this one. A witch from a land far away has brought an army to my cave, to my lair. Her power is greater than I realize, Belgarath. They come for me in my horde. They seek an item that I stole long ago, but no longer possess. You must escape, my son.
But Pa, I can stay with you. We can just call on Auntie and Uncles and they can help us.
They're too far away. But if you can make it to their lairs, I know that they will treat you as their own. There's no more talking, no more negotiating. You must go.
You hear the screams of the army now, and you'd see their shadows against the cave walls up the cave, and Malakath turns, and his face scrunches with anger, and he lets out a breath of fire up the cave. You hear some of the army scream, but then you hear more marching boots.
They have the numbers, and I cannot fit out the back entrance of this cave. Only you can, my son.
And you'd see as Malakath moves his hand up and then starts digging into the treasure trove. And as he does, suddenly you'd see a small little crevice in a large chest that is almost used as like a plug. And he moves the chest aside, and now you'd see the crevice underneath that leads outside.
Get into the chest.
Pa, I don't want to go. I want to fight with you.
He looks down at you.
You will fight many battles, my son. You are my own. My blood runs through your veins. But every dragon has its day. I have lived a long life. I have done many terrible things. But the one thing I'm most proud of is raising you. And all of that will be for nothing if you die. And I won't let that happen.
And he knocks you back and tosses you into the chest. You see him, and he picks up the armor, and he picks up the femur bone and tosses them into the chest on top of you as well.
Pa, don't do this.
I'm sorry. Goodbye, my son.
And he closes the lid upon you. You hear it latch You can't see, but you're moving through the treasure trove as Malakath pushes you up against that little crevice. And then he closes his eyes. There's a sparkle of fiery magic around him as he speaks in Draconic. And then with one blast of his breath, you go flying out of the crevice like a rocket. And the lid would fly open and you're just holding onto the sides as you're flying like a rocket, and you see yourself flying far and far away from the island. And when you do look upon the island, you would see hundreds and hundreds of troops. There's an army there who came on ships, and you continue flying through the air, Belgrath, until you start dipping down, and you'd notice that you're plunging down into the sea, into the water below. And as you continue falling and falling and falling, suddenly, that's when we return to the camp with you and Felpaw.
And then I've landed in the water and got to shore, and I just made my way hunting and walking until I got to Angle Point.
I remember seeing you fly that day. It was always good hunting with you. Although we had to keep it secret and made sure your father didn't know. But Malakath, he kept that island safe. He didn't just protect us from the mortals, he protected us from starving. The other goblin villages, the Furbolgs, everyone on that island was better because of him. That day when he was overtaken, when that army moved in, they never left. They cleared out all the other goblin villages. They killed all the Furbolgs. They built walls around the island. And gods know what they've been doing to your father. But I know he lives, Belgrath.
Then we must go save him.
That is why I came to find you. I followed your trail from this Angle Point until I found you here. But if we wish to save your father, you're going to need more than just you and me. Probably more than these friends you say you found.
You kind of underestimate the power of my friends.
Maybe they underestimate you. And what of me, then? Am I supposed to return to the island and hope that you arrive one day?
You can stay with us.
Stay.
We have a home in the edge of, in like the bad part of town, so no one really goes there. And you can just stay in my room.
I've always lived in the wilds. I never had a home before. Are there others like me, other animals?
There's an owlbear.
Ugh, I hate owlbears.
Well, if you can get along with the owlbear, you can stay with us. And there's also the forest nearby, so you can just come in and go as you please.
I'll do it. If you promise, we're going to take the island back. And that we're going to save your father.
Yes, I want to save my father, so we'll definitely do that.
It's good to be with you.
Suddenly, you'd hear rustling in the trees around you. And sort of almost like a hyena-like laughter. As there are gnolls holding spears. About a dozen of them emerge from the trees and hold up their spears and start laughing loudly. And Felpaw looks around nonchalantly.
This'll be fun. Like old times, my friend.
Belgrath will grab his club and go into a rage.
Like old times.
And Felpaw leaps at one of the gnolls, ripping its head off and cutting it in two. And then quickly his eyes glow with a putrid green. His teeth start leaking a green poison, and as he laughs at the gnoll, a few of them start looking a bit scared.
Belgrath will one of them he will just charge at and swing his club at it, just completely taking its head straight off its shoulders.
Yeah.
And while doing that, pounding one down on the head, so his head just goes concaves into its chest.
And when you leap, your mask of hellish fury, the fiery horns emerge from it. And then you leap down, you just crush this gnoll. And we pan away as all we hear are the gnashing of flesh and the destructions and the screams from the gnolls. And that's where we're going to end this episode. So now I have to explain why you have a war companion. Okay, cool. Awesome. Okay, so that was the origin story of Belgarath. Probably the strangest origin story I've ever done, but it totally suits your character. The origin story, the meat of it happens at the beginning, and then the middle is just silliness. That's what it was all about.
Honestly, during this entire origin story, the only thing I can think about is Fairy Tale the show, because it's like almost exactly the same.
All right. So, that was fun. Now that we've learned more about you, how will this impact the show in the future, I wonder?
More confusion.
Yeah. I mean, if Belgrath or you just never mention it again, you never go see your father. Which is very likely with you, so we'll see.
Oh, shut up.
All right, so that's the end of the episode. I want to thank everybody for listening to this origin. Make sure you tune in next week for Bonnie's origin story, which will be the final ones, and then we're going to continue on with a guest episode. That's right, we're going to have our good friend Matt from Hidden Nerdy Side, a YouTube channel, join us for a guest episode after Bonnie's origin, so make sure to check that out. Don't forget to follow us on everything at Stubborn Heroes, and till next time, bye.
Bye.
Adios.
I'm a product of my granddad's son. Hard-working hands and a job well done. Skin as thick as railroad ties, and you could see kindness in his eyes. I didn't want to do what he did, but I always wanted to be just like him. Strong enough to stay and fight, a man enough to do what's right. His blood is in my own, the good and the bad and in between. I know I'm not alone, 'cause looking in the mirror, it's plain to see my family. Mama has a heart of gold, the sweetest soul you could ever know. His blood is in my own, the good and the bad and in between. I know I'm not alone, 'cause looking in the mirror, it's plain to see my family. family.